Okay, I am gonna do this, even that I'm scared. I'm taking a journey, a new journey, um, in order to go to the next level. So my journey starts tomorrow on my birthday, where I'm going to go for a whole year until my next birthday, which is a big one. It's a zero in the end. Ooh! And the reason I take this journey is because I feel this is the way for me to weave together everything that I am and to work with a guide, the Goddessa guide, which I talk about and teach and sing about and illustrate and all this stuff. But I want to do that and share that with you. So it's going to be a blog of a whole year where I'm going to go from birthday to birthday and to answer the question, how do I stay happy? So why did I choose to do that? Because I realized that the journey to happiness, which the Happy Goddessa is about, started for me since childhood, when I looked at my mother and women in my tribe and in the Western world. They had different codes, and I was bridging between the ancient way of living and the new way of living, and the options that I had as a woman, which was much bigger than my mother's, or much bigger than my grandmother's. But I could also see all of the pitfalls, especially for women. I remember really young reading the newspaper and discovering things about the world that were shocking, and uh, how many ways were to a person to lose itself, to lose its body, to lose its happiness, to lose its joy, to lose its respect, and I started to become really interested in how do I don't fall into that. I remember when I was 10 or something, I read about women when they're 40 and their children leave the house and their life is coming into a standstill because they don't know who they are. And I thought, that's not going to happen to me. And sexual abuse and how you can lose your connection to your body, or how many people, and especially how many beautiful women that I knew had their happiness lost or stolen, or they gave it away. And I always thought, how do I keep the balance? How do I in a way it was, how do I fulfill my soul desire in this crazy world, which I was sometimes too sensitive for. Um, and from some crazy reason, it just became my life. It became my life while I wanted to bring my artwork, my creativity, my true light outside, and got a backlash, as life does. Everyone have their own story. So, but it became my work of of listening to ancient wisdoms and digging deep and arriving to shamanism, and be inspired by all kind of methods of healing, and discovering that I am not myself alone. I'm belonging to a genetic line, belonging to a soul family, and there's so much to us. So that started 20 years ago, and now something happened a few weeks ago that I felt this is time to do something to go to the next level. And because I'm so bloody scared, I'm realizing it's probably a good thing. Because everybody say, if you want to grow, you have to go out of your comfort zone. Well, I'm getting out of my comfort zone. And what is my comfort zone? My comfort zone is to create all these things and to go through all of those stuff and not to share it, because I am still hiding. So I'm writing something that is the many ways women hide their power and how they can change. And it's also part of the guide. But I have to admit that I am guilty on most of them. But it's not always was like this. So I see it like this. Some people have a hard life, hard beginning in life, and they find their way to materialize who they are and to elevate their life on a mental, emotional, spiritual, physical way, even that their beginnings were not very complementary. Some people get everything and then they keep it or they lose it and they have it again. And some people, uh, you know, move between having, losing, having, losing. Everybody have their own story in growth. And in my case, I had a very solid sense of myself as a child and as a woman and as a female and as all of those things. And then my life broke, and I lost everything. And then I started to have a journey of putting all the pieces together. So 20 years ago, I was working on a very big production. I was very gutsy. I did with my life what I wanted all my 20s. But I think that there was a part, my husband saying to me, I said to him, how come that I'm so afraid to do this step? I used to be so fearless when I was younger. He said, well, you were not completely fearless. It was also kind of a crazy, kind of a denial then, that you didn't look at the dangers and you just went ahead, which kamikaze kind of energy, which in the end burned me up. So now I'm not working with the kamikaze energy that I'm so familiar with. And I'm working with the new energy of everything I've learned. And that's why it's scary. But 20 years ago, when I banged against my own wall and I collapsed and I closed my doors and my ears and my ears, so for 2 years, I kind of was out of the normal life. And then I started the journey by listening, and I started to go deeper into myself. I told the story many times, but one of the things that happened when I was in the beginning of this, going to the underworld, I did a sound journey with myself, a shamanic journey where I went to heal parts of myself, and then I could see a split between my masculine part, which was like the king, and the feminine part, it was like the queen. And when I was working on this production, just before I collapsed, the male part took over, and it was, going for its goals and leading with no sleep and no food and just like a warrior on a horse. And I remember the time when I was in rehearsals and all of the things that was going on, that I was longing to sit in the studio and just do ceramic work or to paint or something, really with nobody and nothing. But that part didn't have a right to be there because I was on a deadline. I had lots of people depending on me. I had to perform. That's another power of the masculine aspect of ourselves. It goes linear. It's very directed with goals and things. And it is the electric energy. It's the performing part of ourselves. And the female part, I start to discover that there was a difference, is a different energy. So it's more magnetic, and it's more in a circle, and it has more attracting force. And it's in the stillness, and it's in the emptiness, and it's in the darkness that it has all the potential. So in the beginning months, when I closed the door and I closed my company and I basically lost everything, I wanted to know what happened. And I saw this vision of my male going on a horse, a warrior, going to the target with nothing stopping it. And then I saw that from his horse was a rope, and the feminine was dragged like a bag of potatoes. That was for me a very big understanding of what was happening inside of me. One part was wanting to go forward, the other part didn't. And then suddenly I had a burnout and I could not do anything. That was also when I started to investigate what is the feminine. And I got deeper into understanding myself and my mother and my grandmother and this collective pain that humanity and the earth has about the role of the divine feminine in our life and the unbalance between the two. And it was very interesting. So I started a process which I can say now, 20 years, almost 20 years later, is coming into completion. I had a vision of the things that I was creating, which was crazy. And I didn't know how to eat it. That vision was bigger than me, bigger than my life, and I didn't know what to do with it. But now that I am in my shoes looking at the process of learning, of the journey that I took, I see that this vision, all of the pieces of this vision materialized. And now I'm bringing it together. And I have to be brave to bring it together because I have to do it and give birth to it. And now I ask, where is the fearlessness I used to have when I was younger? Well, I am wiser now, and I am not on kamikaze energy anymore. So I do feel the pain, and I have the knowledge of how do you do things in the third dimension, how do you materialize things here, and what are the risks and what cannot work and what should be in a tryout. So yes, so the process is to dare to go to the next stage. So the thing that happened a few weeks ago that made me see that I need to approach this as a project was that I had interaction again with my queen, with my inner queen. In the last 20 years, I had many times that my female and male were trying to find a way how to be together, which didn't always work. I had periods which I was just male, then I had periods which I was just female. I closed myself off. I didn't do any performing. I didn't do anything in the outside world. I got in, and actually I realized that was also not balance. The balance would be exactly what the Goddessa state of mind is, or lifestyle is to be in the perfect balance between your intuitive mind and intellectual mind, between your extrovert world and introvert world. That center point. Now, I found that center point in myself. I also found it in my marriage. And I also found it in the way I raise my children. I have really yin and yang kind of children, really extreme. So my whole life is about bringing the extremes together. But now I see that the next challenge is to do that with my creative work and with my life purpose, the big one. So a few weeks ago, I had this connection with my inner queen, and she showed me the total picture of the image of the vision of 20 years ago, and that was that the king didn't just fall from the horse, and she was not just dragged like a bag of potatoes. She got pissed off from being dragged, so she pulled him off the horse. So nobody was the victim. I always thought she's the victim and he's the bad guy. But actually what I realized is that all these years, that part of me wanted to go out to the world and to materialize and to use the electric, but the female just wanted to stay indoors and raise children and not show who I am. That's also not balance. Balance is what I'm trying to do now, is to work with both of them. So a few weeks ago, I had an amazing initiation as part of a healing that I did. Of course, it was a process, but it started where I had my inner queen and my inner king coming together to find a way to be together, like time for sacred marriage, the union of the yin and the yang, the balance that is mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, kind of an inner zen. So sometimes I have it and sometimes I don't have it. But since this initiation, I see that I have to find a way how to listen to both and how to let them work with each other. And it's basically, how do I balance between my outside world or the things I'm wanting to do in the world and between my inner world. So I felt, actually the inner queen said that, that I will take this year from this birthday till the end of the birthday, and I will go through the whole Goddessa guide, as we do, through the seasons, through the months, through the week, through the day, and try to stay in consciousness of the points where I lose happiness, which everyone have it in a different place. Basically, disconnectedness is the biggest enemy. When we are disconnected from our source, when we believe in the illusion that we are separated, when we are disconnected from our body, disconnected from our emotion, or disconnected with our mental powers, there is unhappiness. And that's in a very big lines. So I would like to have a year where I would find my inner peace while I am working with both of my sides, step by step, female, male, that there's interaction between them, that I learn new ways and I change my own brain, because it's our brain is just like so automatic. And just by bringing consciousness to how we think, well, that's one of the amazing tools in our guide. So this is what I would like, to think less or overthink less, some kind of a habit I picked up while living here in Holland with my lovely family, and to go back to be feeling and doing person from my heart, and not overruled by the head like I did the last years, and also not completely clueless, only with my own senses, without. So north and south, east and west. And I'm going to do that on a daily, weekly, monthly. I really don't know the details, how I'm going to do that. But it doesn't matter, because I decided to start, like Marie Forleo says, start before you're ready. I always started before I was ready. But now I got so much to try to have a strategy, or to start to learn to think in a linear way, that I kind of lost myself. So I'm in an age where you look back and you go like, how did I lose these parts of myself? So in this year, I'm going to honor myself on all directions. And I'm going to share my work and my creations with you, and also my process. Okay, and if you hate me, I will still love myself. This is what I promise myself to do. So to be consistent, to be in communication, not to hide in my crib, but to share, and hopefully make connection that's what I want, with same mind and heart people, and see where we take it. So I don't know what this year will bring. I just know that I will follow my guide, and that would be my Goddessa journey for this whole year. And I will answer the question, how do I stay happy? And this question will be asked every day and every week, and there's always something to look at, and it's always something to explore, and always something to shine consciousness and awareness on. So the Goddessa guide is not something you learn and then you know it. It's a way of life. It's a practice, and I want to do this practice every day, spiritually, connecting, physically, emotionally, mentally, and then I'm ready. And I will share with you, and I hope that you can also get your own journey out of it and start to elevate your life and start to unite different parts of yourself and see what amazing work it is. It's so, so, so amazing to go to talk to your shadows and to bring unloved and rejected aspect of yourself to your life, and to raise your frequency and live in a fifth dimension, which is from the heart and in tune with loving, while half of the planet is still in the third dimension, which is fear, and be the shining light in your life, in your family, and in hopefully in our community. And we see where it takes us, but it's like really, it's a practice. It's every day, staying in consciousness, hopefully using your voice to stay in connectedness to everything, and being in joy and living a lifestyle of happy, compassionate, commanding Goddessa. So this is my commitment, and I've already made this video, so step 1 is done. And I see you next time. So, Ken Yehi Ratzon. That's all it is. Thank you.